Okay, welcome everybody. We are back talking on the Let's Talk About Love, Sex, and Infidelity podcast to talk about today's topic, which is the best self experience. So, this is where you, Todd, get together with people and you have this workshop where you talk about the correlation between meditation and living your best life, right? It's a brand new
Right.
workshop, and we wanted to make sure that we brought this episode so that listeners, whether or not you're listening to them on YouTube or to Todd's podcast, you knew exactly what this was
hmm
and give you the opportunity to sign up for one of these great experiences. So, but before we kind of dive into this whole best self experience, for those of you that don't know Todd, I just want to drop in a quick introduction. Todd is a licensed marriage and family therapist and licensed clinical social worker with 35 plus years, maybe a little bit more, of experience helping couples and individuals heal themselves from such crises such as trauma, infidelity, all kinds of things. And you also help couples rekindle the passion in their relationship. And you are a firm believer in healing modalities, right? Such as EMDR and meditation and helping people in your practice and
hmm
outside of your practice, live their best lives. So
Right.
let's dive into, I mean, you've also, before I jump in there, I forgot to say that you've been meditating for how long now?
Well, I think I started when I was 18 and now I'm like 28, so it's been about 10 years. No, it's been a
Yeah, but
while.
yes, but you said, I think in the last time when we got together, really, you've been meditating for like 40 years, but
Yeah.
very, very seriously for
A
over
five
5 years
at least. Yeah,
now.
but
Yeah,
really
at least.
seriously. Yeah.
Yes, but you've always dabbled in it. You've always,
Mhm.
been a firm believer, but now, it's become more of a something that you wanted to bring into your practice because you've seen so much
Yes.
benefit. So
Right.
let's talk about this best self experience because we really want to educate your audience as to why you created it and the correlation between meditation and living your best life. So let's just dive into why did you decide to create this workshop where people could come and learn, the effects of meditation and living the life that they
Sure.
love or
Sure. Well, I'm known mostly for couples, even though I do a lot of work more and more with individuals again as well and trauma, but I'm known for couples and I do a lot of work with couples. And when people come in, they're experiencing the problem usually outside of themselves to the other person. And so I spend a lot of my time, as you know, helping people realize that, yeah, that's really happening and that person shouldn't have done that and shouldn't have said it that way. But let's look at you and see what that when that person does that, what does it bring out of you? Does it bring out your
mm-hmm,
best self? Usually not. Usually it's a reactive self. That reactive self then acts in such a way to bring out the other partner's worst self, or not, definitely not the best self. And so we have a lot of people in life, not just husband and wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, but people in general that are just reacting and bringing out each other's
bickering,
the
bickering.
bickering,
Yes,
you know, um, arguing with the neighbors about it could be anything. It could be,
or angry at someone driving down the road,
I
right?
was going to say that you read my mind, Kristen, which isn't the first time. Um, and so we do that, and we are not acting from our best self, and we surely don't bring the best out of other people, right? I'll give you a quick
Mm,
story. You said that. I'll share this kind of interesting story. Um, Years ago, close to my house here, I cut a guy off. I just was didn't drive well, cut a guy off. I ended up at the red light. He ended up at the left turning lane, red arrow.
mhm.
And I just happened to glance at him. And when I glanced at him, he he just looked like he's had a very tough life and he was an angry guy. And as
Mm-hmm.
soon as I looked and our eyes met, I won't go into the specific words of what he said, but he used about 75 cuss words threatening to kill me.
Oh boy.
Um, Now, what does that bring out in me? It brings out my fight or flight, my fearful self, or my vengeful self, right?
Right.
Part of me wants to run the light. Part of me wants to kill him before he kills me, right? That's the human animal nature of us. It's
Mm-hmm.
it's it's not my best self though. So at that moment, for whatever reason, I said something to me like, "Make it happen," meaning bring out my best self.
Oh, okay,
No,
good.
no, make
Not
it
make it
happen.
happen to him.
No, make it happen. Like bring out my best self, And so what I did, my window was half down. I lowered it all the way down, and this might have been not been the smartest thing to do, but I put my head out a little bit, and I said to him, his passenger window was open. I said to him, I don't know what your morning was like before I cut you off, but the last thing you needed was a jerk like me to stress you out. And I
Oh,
got to tell you from the bottom of my heart that I am very sorry. Really
oh,
am. So what did I do, right? I accessed my compassionate self, right? Now, what did he do?
what did he say? Yeah.
He surely didn't say, I'm going to come and kick your ass.
No, what
He
could
looked at me.
you?
It was actually funny. He went, he didn't know what to say. It's all right, man. And I go, good. At that time, just light turned green arrow, and and I said, hey, look, have a great rest of your day. He goes, yeah, you too. It was really funny to watch him. Not he struggled, but I watched his face shift. You know,
Yeah.
I just watched his face shift. Right. So, whatever we could do to access our best self brings out not just the best in me, but it gives me the opportunity to bring out the best in others. I brought this guy who he's never experienced anyone do that to him after after he
Yeah.
threatened him. That was the first
Yeah.
time in his life, I'm guessing, that anybody said after he was threatened, my life was threatened with words anyway, hey, I'm really sorry. That's the last thing you needed. And
Yeah. Yeah.
it's such a powerful truth.
Way
I
of
love
being.
telling that story. Yeah.
Yeah. It's beautiful. It's
So,
beautiful because we forget that.
yeah.
But you don't know how you impacted his life, but also you felt much better
Oh,
for
yeah,
having done that. So that's
sure.
why best self, like being able to access your best self inside of you,
Right. Right.
not only makes other people feel better, but you're not perpetuating the bad feelings you're
Changed
making
me.
yourself feel.
How,
Exactly.
changed me. As I accessed my best self, it affected me. My body's inflammations reversed.
Yeah.
I wasn't. I was present. I
Yeah.
was there, and I'm sure it brought out some good chemistry inside of my own body.
Ex-
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, let's dive into the next question because really, and I love this, what this story you just said, but let's talk about then, if you are someone that has had deeper traumas, such as intimacy issues, infidelity, a dysfunctional family, trauma,
Mm-hmm.
anxiety, things like that,
Mm-hmm.
how does, meditation and this best self experience, like how do you explain to people the correlation between meditating and helping you feel better when you are dealing with all of those things?
I am finding that people, we're all hurt. We've all been affected. Some people have been maybe more traumatized than others. Not everyone has been
Mm-hmm.
traumatized equally, but um, we identify ourselves with the trauma, and the trauma defines us. And of course, I do work in this area a lot, doing other things other than meditation. But meditation helps people discover the parts of them that are unaffected, that are free, that are untethered to the trauma. And you begin to experience this place inside of yourself that is your best self.
Yeah.
So that, the most important thing well, let me say it like this. Many times victims of trauma recreate the same old traumas in their lives. Person had a father that abandoned them. Let's say I'm thinking of a woman who, as a child, the father abandoned them, and they keep attracting men who keep abandoning them in one way or the other, abandon them emotionally, physically, both. What meditation can do is help that person get in touch with, there's a part of me that really is beautiful and loving and worthy. It's already there.
Hmm.
Meditation doesn't change it. It's there. That person was worthy before the abandonment happened. The abandonment happened not because of their unworthiness. It's because the person that the father of this story was caught up in his own limitations. So meditation helps this person, this hypothetical person who I see every day of my practice, uh, to access the part of them that is worthy. It's already
Yeah.
there. And
Yeah.
the more they dip into it, because this is meditation is something you want to do consistently. Like I said, over the last 5 years or more, I've been doing it because we're so conditioned to keep following our same old thoughts and wants and feelings. Meditation is an opportunity to break that habit of following the same old thoughts and patterns, and you access this part of you that is just so pure and worthy, and it gives you perspective so that you could go out, whether you're doing other things in therapy or you're not, to help you deal with your life more
Yeah.
robustly, more
That kind of
powerfully.
segues into the, next question really is, it's building, that best self foundation. I mean, so you kind of answered it, because I was going to ask you, how does meditation help one develop that best self, stronger meditation, and the benefits of having that foundation? And I think you
Oh,
said it gets you out of that wherever
it's
you
not,
were
yeah.
self-fulfilling prophecy of the negativity in your life, right? And get you into more of a positive.
Here's the truth.
Okay.
Everyone is born lovable, worthy, and beautiful. Everybody
Hmm.
is. We stop feeling that way, and then some people can become pretty ugly in their behavior. I don't mean it physically, but in their behavior. But it's because of this legacy of trauma, typically.
Hmm.
So by meditation is a way to access your pure, deep self. And as you do that, you start to have access to these inner resources that have been there but covered up.
Yeah.
So it points you to that. As you practice it, you start to experience, wow, I am that. I am not this only. I've had this happen to me, but I am not this. I am this in a world,
Hmm.
this inner sense of, and it helps us. It doesn't mean that we don't act appropriately, right? It doesn't mean that you stop protecting yourself when you're in a dangerous relationship. But you're liberated from your reactive self. You
Yeah.
access your best self, the self like I did with this guy who I cut off.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. And who knows what kind of trauma he had in his life,
oh,
or
no
it could be
question.
trauma. It could have been just a bad day, but you don't know.
Yeah,
You never know who you're touching. So um, let's dive into my last question, is really, who would benefit from coming to the best self experience? And let's explain to the listeners, what you do inside of this workshop. I was going to say
sure.
meditation practice, but we really want to
It's a
talk to
work.
people
Yeah,
about, yeah, we've got this workshop. We've got
right.
some exercises that you have people do before they come
Hmm.
to, identify some things. So why don't you just explain to the listeners, what is this workshop? And just for everybody to know, this is a free workshop.
Free. Right.
So we want people to use the link down below to get on the list so that they can get notified. We run these once a month based on your schedule. So we don't
Hmm.
really we can't say when the next one is, but if you think this is for you, this is
Yeah,
something
it's
that
always
you
going to be
want
right
to
around the corner.
experience,
Always
and
right
you're
around
going
the
to
corner. Yeah.
get benefits just from coming to that. So why don't you explain what you do inside of there so people understand? Because we keep
Well,
talking about it, but
yeah, I mean, I talk about it a little bit, but what I mean by that, and there's different ways I talk about it each time, I'm sure, because
yeah,
it's
it's from the heart.
from the heart, exactly. So, uh, and I put them, we do a meditation to help them get a taste of what I'm saying when how to access that best self, that
Right.
healthy self, that pure, lovable, unconditionally lovable self. And then after that, I respond to questions. We talk about how to use it, and um, just make it as real as possible for people to realize that, wow, there is this place that is inside of me that I can access. I mean, that's a beautiful thing to know
Right.
that it's
Right.
always there. This
Right.
presence within us is always there. And my job is to help people access it, because we're oftentimes, because of the way we've been so conditioned, we just get distracted by what keeps getting our attention. So this best self experience gives people a taste and some practice for, wow, I don't have to be distracted by this reactive way of living. So
Right.
it
I think,
really is creative as opposed to reactive.
right. And you also, as part of the experience, you have people go through a self-assessment, hopefully before they have time to
Oh,
do it
yeah, yeah,
beforehand,
yeah.
right?
I
Which
forgot to
really
talk about
gets
it.
people,
Right.
yeah, like gets you like aware of where are the areas in your life that you know you should be
Yeah,
working on.
it's a short but powerful assessment tracker where they track themselves where they're at in terms of their capacities to have compassion and different things like that, and they assess themselves honestly. And then what I want them to do is then hopefully do some kind of meditation practice with me or whatever, and
Right.
then retake that assessment and see where they're at.
Yeah, because that's
Because
the whole point, right?
that's the whole
It's
point.
the transformation
Right.
of where you are now, and then do the meditation for a while and then go back and see
Mhm.
how much better. And we can talk about it all day, but until someone actually puts the time in and
It's
commits to it, you won't
yeah,
understand all the stuff that we're talking about. But this workshop really is to give you a taste
it's a
and for you
taste.
to open your eyes to see, like, oh, wow, if I can do this, then I can have that.
It's absolutely true. This is not about reading a book. Books are great, but this is experiential learning. You only learn it by doing it, and you can't always even explain it because it's beyond the mind. It's always you got to just do it and then notice.
And then everybody has their own personal experience
Mhm.
of
It's
what, everybody has their own unique, we're all, we are connected, but we have our own unique experiences
yes,
of things. And so what one person might get might be different than another person, but there could be
absolutely.
similar things.
Well,
But it's
we
really
all
all,
going to access our best self, but our best self might be different at different times. My little story, it was about that. I was, and I'll tell you this. I think my meditation gave me the opportunity to deal with that in the moment,
yeah.
which may have saved me. I don't know if he would have actually acted out, but I cut him short. And
Yeah, but
so,
I think you transformed his life by how you
yeah,
reacted, right?
yeah, it could have planted a seed. Like, wow, people can be nice. I'm not used to
Yeah,
people being nice to me, thinking
yep,
about me, recognizing that I have feelings.
yeah.
Yeah,
And that I'm a nice guy, I'm
yeah,
sorry.
yeah,
I'm sorry goes a long way. So
yeah.
again, for all of you that are listening today, I've got the link down below for you to get on the wait list or notified for his next best self experience. And I've also got a link down below for Todd's meditation program for self and interpersonal healing program for $47 a month. You get all kinds of great stuff. You get a practice guide. Each month has a new topic. There's a practice guide for each month, a video, 2 meditations. And then quarterly, or it's not quarterly, every other month, you have these mini retreats that get recorded also, where people can come meditate with you, ask you questions,
Yeah.
things like that.
Right.
So it's a really powerful program. But if you're not sure you're ready to do that, I highly recommend that you get on the list and join Todd for one of these best self experiences, because that, I think, will really open your eyes and give you a taste of what it's like. So all of that's right down in the show notes. Or anything else you want to add for today before we wrap up today's episode?
Well, all I could say is that um, I'm passionate about this because I, you know, I see people on, I just happen to look and I see people's deservability. They deserve love. They deserve to feel love. I see people's potential. And I think it's all too easy to stay stuck and to not be open to what's possible that maybe you don't know yet, and a lot of this is about being open to what you don't know, open to the unknown, open to the mystery of accessing your best self and meditation and all that. So I invite people to be a little bit of like pioneers, try something new, take a
Be,
chance,
be curious.
be curious, be open, and let's see what happens.
Exactly, exactly. Well, that's wonderful. Thank you so much. And that's it for today.
Yes, thank you.